Hello, 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 hello. How's everybody doing? Um, can everyone hear me all right? You don't have to have your camera on. You don't have to. It's all good. It's all right. Thanks, Cameron, for that. Thanks, Barbara. I really appreciate all this. My name is Ian Coates, and actually, I'm very excited to be teaching this course. When they asked me to teach this Bio 1014, uh, I was stoked when I heard it. I've taught at Georgian for the past, seems like a million years, past 4 years, and anatomy and physiology, chemistry, physics. That's my wheelhouse, right? And what an important class this is. And I'm sure. There, trying to open my window there. Sorry, the sun's out. I haven't seen the sun in weeks like the rest of us. But if you've just joined in, my name is Ian Coates, and welcome to Biology 1014. And this is probably one of the most important courses that I've ever taught because we're in the middle of a pandemic, and you guys all know what's going on, and like the whole world does. And I guess Canada, Ontario especially, is behind the ball when it comes to medical practitioners. And I heard about this course opening there, and we need you guys out there. And that's what this is. This is crazy important. I mean, 5 alarm fire important. And you guys are the future. So when they offered this to me, I scooped it up quick like a bunny. And proud of you guys for making the initiative to come back to school. And we'll get you guys out of here in good standing. This court, I'm recording this, by the way, okay? Because how this is going to go is I'll do the live lectures there every week at this time. And then what I'll do is I'll immediately post them there to YouTube. Okay, and I'll provide you guys a link in Blackboard. And if there's any, I guarantee there's going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? IT issues or computer issues or password issues or Blackboard issues. So if you're having trouble with any of those, stick around after. We'll have a Q&A after, and if you guys have any questions, you guys can ask. If there's anything crazy important, you guys can ask anytime. This is a democratic classroom, and I am certainly not the boss. You guys are, and if there's ever a question there that you guys, if you guys have a question to ask, please don't be afraid to ask questions, because if you have the same question, if you have the question, I guarantee 10 other people have the same question. Okay, so once you guys get to know me and know my learning style or my teaching style, I'm pretty free. I'm pretty open. Learning can happen in. Are you going to learn anything during my PowerPoint presentation? Probably not. How this thing works is I'm your facilitator, and I'm going to show you what you guys need to know. I can help you guys with how you learn. Maybe you learn better with a piece of paper in your hand. It's called tactile learning. Maybe you're an auditory learner. Maybe you're a visual learner. Maybe you're a group learner. Maybe you're a solitary. There's all these different ways of learning, right? And we're going to hit all those every single week. Okay, and there's a group project. We'll go over the syllabus and all that there. But this is an awesome course. Is it easy? No. But the way that I've structured it, I think it's kind of, I don't know, I haven't looked at any other teacher syllabus, but it is heavy. But it could have been a lot heavier there. Like when I was making this syllabus up, Jesus Murphy, man, there was some some weeks there that had 5 units in it. And what I've done is I've changed everything all around. So you're looking at around 2 or 3 units a week, which I think is doable. and all the units are kind of linked, and we'll go over the syllabus there. Like today's class, we're doing Unit 1 and Unit 2, or Chapter 1, Chapter 2. It's intro, so it's not too bad. The textbook, from what I understand, won't be available till next Friday. Okay? I think we have students in Owen Sound and all over the place. So I'm from Owen Sound originally. I used to live on 4th Ave and 14 West, and went to Strathcona and all that. But wherever you are, it doesn't matter. Okay? If you're ever having an issue, you email me immediately. That's how this game works. All right? Don't tell me about an issue. Oh, if something happens the day before an exam, tell me, you know, because I know we've got single moms out there. We've got single dads. I've got 2 rugrats at home, a 7 and a 4-year-old, you know, and all this. And life is pretty chaotic right now. So please don't ever feel that you're alone. All right, you shoot me an email, tell me what's going on, and I've been teaching on. It's ridiculous. I've been teaching online since last March, and you know, I can't wait to get back in the classroom. But this virtual learning, it does have its advantages. It has its disadvantages too. You guys tend to have to be a little bit more self-reliant, but you're not alone, and that's the number one point I want to make there today. Is don't ever feel that you're by yourself. I'm also going to open up a discussion board on Blackboard so that y'all can talk to each other, you know, and I want you guys to meet up, you know, exchange phone numbers, do whatever you need to do. You guys are doing this, and you guys are going to do it, and you guys are going to need each other's help. And I'm here. I can coordinate. I can web assist. I have access to resources you guys don't. So you guys have each other, and I will make a portal open on Blackboard that will allow you guys to meet and greet, and you know, find assignment partners and this kind of thing, and study for tests. Yeah, okay, maybe someone's in Orangeville, someone's in Owen Sound, another person's there in Collingwood. It's all good. You guys can set up, there's lots of phone apps, you know, you guys use Facebook, there's WhatsApp, there's all these kinds of things. Use whatever you can, okay? Because this course is excellent, it's relevant, it's pertinent. Where you guys are going to be in a year, you have to get this course done, because this course is a springboard for all other biology and health related courses, okay? And use any advantage there that you have, okay? The only thing, keep me in the loop. If something's going on, this is for you, but ultimately you guys are doing this there to better your family, better yourself, better society. But it's no good if at the end of it all you get this piece of paper, but something's happened in your family. That family's most important. So please take care of your family, take care of yourselves, keep me in the loop. I can make accommodations if somebody's sick or this or that or something happening. Sure, we'll need doctor's notes and all that, but please know that I'm always on your side. I'm not a person there that's here to take marks away from you. I've given hundreds before, you know, and just keep me in the loop, and I will be your biggest advocate. Now, today, I feel like crap, and I don't know why. I've had the sniffles all day and all that, so that's why I'm drinking coffee out of the beer stein still, and it's after 12. So, this course is a good one. It moves pretty quick, all right? We don't have the textbook there for the first 2 weeks, okay? But that's okay. You don't need it. The first 2 weeks there is more intro. We're going to go over, we're going to start our first organ system week 3, as far as I know. All right. And I'll go over the syllabus right now. Let's have a look here. I'll show you guys. If you guys have any questions, throw them out or save them to the end. I see all these comments in the, and hopefully there you guys can see all the comments there in the chat. Have a read of them. My screen is a little different, but I can see them if in one shape or another. But if there's any emergencies, let me know. But this is a great way to meet and chat and coordinate and these kinds of things. I want to show you guys here. See if this will work. Okay. So this is on Blackboard here. This is your syllabus. There's a course outline on there as well. It's not really that important. That's just the piece of paper there given by Georgian. It's called the course outline. It just details blah, 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 what you're going to learn. The syllabus, this is the big banana here. This is what you guys want, okay? Because this is going to tell you when assignments are due, when tests are due, this kind of thing. So here's my contact information, Ian Coates. Okay, there's my email there. You guys can get a hold of me all the time. I check my email like probably way too much. All right, like 10 times a day. So yeah, if there's ever any issues, just let me know. Class is every Wednesday. It's open from 12 to 3:30. I anticipate class to be like lecture will be about an hour and a half. I think there's one day there where we cover 3 chapters. I'm not quite sure. I'll go over the syllabus right now. But generally, class shouldn't be any later than 2. Because A, I'm not yakking away for 3.5 hours. And B, you guys don't want to hear me yak away for 3.5 hours. And there's no need to. Okay, so we'll show you how this all works. All right. So the course opens there today. And it'll the last day is July 28th. So this is 12 weeks. Bam. That's it. There's no breaks. There's no nothing. And this course is awesome. And I'll show you this right here. This is just classroom etiquette. You guys know all this kind of stuff. Plagiarism and cheating. It is what it is. You guys know. I don't need to go into this. You guys can have a read. There is coming to it. This is it right here. So there is one assignment, and it's worth 20%. Yeah, big. And this will be due the second last week. So there is time. All right. And this will be on the nervous system. And I'll tell you why in a little bit here. Okay. And you guys will be able to have groups of up to 4. So you guys can have lab partners. I'll elaborate more on this there next week once all the hullabaloo of the first week has subsided. Okay. And so the assignment 1, it's due on week 11. There are 5 tests. And they'll be on week 3, 5, 7, 9, and 12. And I'll show you these right here. And don't worry, if anybody just showed up late, don't worry. I'm actually recording all this so that, and I'll post it all to YouTube anyway. So y'all are in good hands, all right?
And it's not saying that it's recording at the top of my screen.
It won't. It's saying it on mine.
Okie dokie, thank you.
No worries. And then I'll post my video to I'm screen sharing, right? So, no, good question. I love it. I'll post this there to YouTube afterwards. So, I want to get to the syllabus itself. Now, I kind of like beautifully pastel colored coordinated this thing here. And so this is what you want to print off, okay, and post on the wall or have it somewhere, because this is what's going to happen here, all right? The first 2 weeks, you'll see here these numbers. These are the chapters in the book, which you don't have yet. It's all good. And you'll see here that within the first 2 weeks, we're going to cover chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, and these ones here aren't destroyer units. That's why I put them in here, because we don't have books. I have enough material to sink a ship on my own, so I'll supplement this. And by the time the books do roll around, then we'll start into week 3, which is the start of the organ systems. Okay, so for today, We'll do intro to the human. Today's lecture won't be that bad. We'll probably be done by 1 o'clock. Okay, so today's not so bad. Next week isn't so bad. We'll introduce cells, cell metabolism, and micro basics. All right, this is all available on Blackboard, so you guys don't have to write any of this down. You guys can just download this there on Blackboard. If you have any Blackboard navigation issues, just let me know. It's completely common. And week 3 there, we start tissue, membranes, and skin. The integumentary system there, that is your skin. And your skin is actually the biggest organ. And basically the definition of what an organ is something that does something, but it has a number of different functions. So like skin, okay, protection, okay, waterproof, antibacterial. Any of your organ systems there, it is an organ because it does more than one thing. And we'll get into all these. Like week 3 there is skin, which ain't easy. It's interesting what goes on here. We'll talk about the difference there between a first, second, third degree burn, and why third degree, second degree, they are ferociously dangerous. That's why there is something in the hospital called a burn unit, right? You take the skin off 3/4 the way down to the bone. Now the body is now a sitting duck for bacterial infection, mold, fungus, these kinds of things. So pretty important, skin. Week 4, normally I do skeletal in a week by itself. Normally I do muscle system in a week by itself. But the two, why not put them all together? Okay, absolutely feasible, absolutely doable, and very interesting. Okay, week 5, a system there that a lot of people don't know about. It's called the lymphatic system. You know, your lymph nodes, you know, you have them under your armpits, in your groin, in your throat, right? You got to think about location. And you have your core trunk where all the important stuff is. Well, you've got lymph nodes here, you've got lymph nodes here, and you got lymph nodes in your groin there, because your arms and legs are interacting with the outside world. They could get hit, they could get knocked, they could get a bug, a bacteria, or something in them. So the lymph nodes here are there when the blood enters the core. It filters all the blood out and keeps all the bugs from entering your core. Awesome. And we've got the immune system there. White blood cells, these kinds of things, and we'll get into vaccines and how they are made. And interesting to hear opinions on the vaccines that are going on, and just to hear what people have read and seen and experienced. I tell you, I'm really looking forward to this class because y'all are spread out all over the place, and you guys all have your stories, and I'm interested in every single one of them. You guys matter to me, and we'll get her done. Yes, you will. Hey, you guys are going to be medical practitioners, helping people. And may I encourage you to don't stop at a PSW. Go on and be a nurse. I was raised by nurses. My grandma's a nurse. My mom's a nurse. She's a nurse practitioner. My sister's a nurse. Nurses are awesome. Go and get your NP. Go and become a nurse practitioner. Go and save the world. That's what it's about. All right. What do we got here? Week 6. Endocrine. There's 2 ways there that the body talks. If the brain wants to get a hold of my big toe, can't just dial it. You know what I mean? How is my brain going to talk to my big toe? Well, there's 2 ways. Nerves. You got it. It's through nerves or hormones. And you'll see there, we'll talk about nerves and hormones. They both send messages. Nerves are very fast and very short-lived, right? Hormones, very slow, very propagating. Can last for days, can last for weeks. Incredibly strong effects. Huge effects by hormones. Okay? And these kind of things. We'll get into that. Then we'll talk now right here, we'll get into blood. And all of these guys here are kind of related. That's why I've kind of put them all in here. Okay. And then week 7 and 8, there's your heart, there's your CVS, cardiovascular system. And I've I've worked at the syllabus a lot over the past 2 weeks, and I'm kind of happy that I got most units down to 2 chapters. Okay. And they're kind of linked together. So right here, week 7 and 8, we've got 16, 17, 18, 19 chapter here. Anatomy of the heart, function of the heart. And you'll notice here, anatomy and physiology. I would write that down. Anatomy is structure. Physiology is function. And you will see that the shape of a biological thing is always tied to its function. We'll get more into that. Anatomy of blood vessels. Would you believe that blood vessels are muscle? They are. We'll learn about the 3 kinds of muscle, and they are one of them. Function of blood vessels. You guys are going to learn about hypertension. You guys are going to learn about what causes a heart attack. You guys are going to learn how to prevent heart attacks. And these kinds of things. And eventually, I guess you guys will be able to save people from heart attacks. So, you know what I mean? This is pretty important. And I hope you guys are excited, because I'm excited for you. Respiratory system, chapter 22, digestive system. Again, normally I do those in 1 week, but we'll be doing them. I do each of those in 1 week, but we'll be doing both of them in 1 week. Urinary system, chapter 24. And you guys think the heart's the big boss? No. The heart ain't the big boss. The heart is the workhorse. Kidneys are the big boss. Who would have thunk, eh? Kidneys are the big boss. Kidneys there, they cleanse the blood, they filter the blood out, and in order to filter the blood, they need a certain amount of pressure. And if they don't have that pressure, they tell the heart, hey, let's go, kick it up a notch. We need more pressure. The heart kicks out more. All right? So the kidneys. And you'll see how these are kind of all separated week by week, because we all got to sleep, and that's the only thing we can do, right? I got classes once a week. But I really want you guys, and I'm going to try and stress this throughout, is I want you guys to see not only what you're looking at, but I want you guys to every now and again take a step back and look at the biological picture, the map, the interrelatedness of how this organ system is related to this organ system, and how they interact. When do they interact? These kinds of things. Okay? And it's just amazing. Take this course, and then somewhere along the line, hopefully in your program, I'm not familiar enough with your program, but I'm going to be teaching in this program more often now. This is my first time. Normally I teach in the biotech department and the pre-health, but just the whole idea of seeing the interrelatedness and seeing how these organ systems relate to each other and work together is just incredible. And we'll mention that from time to time. Week 11 there, we've got reproduction and human development and hereditary stuff like chromosomes and Punnett squares, these kinds of things. Why do some people get brown eyes and blue eyes and these kinds of things? We'll talk about all that kind of stuff. Now, and then week 12, there is no class. That'll be just the test. So let's go over the test here, the tests. So how this is going to work is, because it's such a condensed course, all right, that there is really no time. Well, there is, but as far as tests go, we're not going to have a time to sit down where I'm going to watch you guys and do. No, it's not going to work like that. This is adult education, and how this is going to go is we're having week 1 right there today. Next week we'll have week 2, okay? And at the start of week 3, we'll have week 3 lecture, which is all this in here. But test 1 will also open 2 Wednesdays from now at 12 o'clock. And it'll be open for 12 hours. Okay? And it will only be on this stuff here. Okay? So, this is Wednesday there today. This is Wednesday there next week. This is Wednesday week 3, which we'll have, or I'll have, but your test will open at 12 noon and it'll close at 12 midnight. Okay? Now, if you're worried about, well, how do I do the test and then how do I attend lecture? You don't have to worry about it because I can video. You'll see there today, I'm recording this. I'll post it to YouTube and you guys can watch these videos as many times as you want. It's all good. All right. So, test 1 covers these 2 chapters here and it's only 10%. All right. Because this stuff isn't too bad. When we start getting into, you see test 2, okay, it covers weeks 3 and 4. And now we're into organ systems. You've got skin, tissue membrane, bones, and muscle. Test is worth 15%. And again, this test will open on week 5, Wednesday at noon, and it'll close at midnight. Okay? And I do that because we have single parents. We have people in different situations. I just saw somebody wrote something. I'll check and see. I apologize. It just pops on my screen and then it goes. And if you guys have questions, let me know. It's all good. There you'll see there, test 2 covers these guys here. Test 3, it's week 7. It'll open at noon and it's on this stuff here. Okay, that's how this system works. All right, and I'll let you guys know on Blackboard. Okay, test 4, this is all on the heart. Okay, sorry, not that. And these are all worth 15% each because they're basically on 2 weeks worth of information. And then you'll see here that what we've got, test 5 here, is based on weeks 9, 10, and 11. So there's an extra week of information there. So this one here is worth 25%. And there is your assignment. It's due here. And I'll let you guys know, hopefully there by this week, maybe next week there, about your assignment. And your assignments right here, the details of it is it covers these 4 chapters. Chapter 10, 11, 12, and 13. Which is only and all nervous system. So what I did was I took nervous system out of here. My lips are dry, it didn't work very well. And popped it out here. And I'm going to make an assignment on this. Please make sure, try and coordinate. I wouldn't want to see anybody do this assignment by themselves. If you want to, it's totally doable. I'm thinking in and around 20 pages. Like, I know, don't freak out. Don't freak out. It's not that bad. You know, you think 20 pages or 25 pages of work, but if you have pictures and diagrams, these kinds of things, you know, it's not so bad. And if you have partners there, you guys can divvy up the work, that kind of thing. So that's what's going on. Please notice that due to the pandemic, everything is up in the air, and you never know what each day brings. So we may have to change the schedule according to what's going on. But that is your syllabus. Okay, and that's the course. That's where we're at. So your first test is week 3. Okay, which is not next week, but the week after. Okay, and the tests they won't be that bad, I don't think. They'll be true and false, matching, multiple choice, these kinds of things, and it's only based on the information that it's covered. So if you look at test 2, I'm only going to be testing you on this stuff right here for test 2. All right? Am I going to go after this stuff? No. But maybe some of this stuff might be incorporated in here as per the PowerPoint or the readings of the text. So There is a bit of accumulation, but generally what I'm talking about, if I'm testing on weeks 3 and 4, that's what I'm testing on. And so that's that. How we doing? We okay? Everyone all right?
Did you comment on how long we have for each test? I know you said it was open for 12 hours.
It's open for 12 hours. And at this point in time, I'm not sure if I'm just going to have it. You'll have 3 hours to do it, at least. Now, whether I can give you more or not, I'll update you guys there next week. But there will, because life is so precarious right now, I want everyone to have enough time, because if you got 3 screaming kids around at 4 o'clock and your test is due by 6, well, you're not going to do very good, are you? And you know what? And it's my job to provide you guys an avenue, so you guys can do this. You know what I mean? I believe in you guys. You guys are going to save people's lives. Let's get you guys out of here and get you guys working. Got it? Good. Sorry, I guess I didn't answer your question, but I will update you. You guys will have enough time. Okay, all right. Am I still recording? I better still be recording. How are we doing? Okay. If you guys have any more questions, anything relevant or important or anything like that, even irrelevant, I don't even care. If you don't, then we'll shoot these PowerPoints off and we'll get these going. And hopefully there you guys were able to access everything on Blackboard. If you can't, let me know. I'll send them to you by email or whatever. But I want you guys to have access to Blackboard, because that's basically how I mass communicate with y'all. Okay? And check that stuff every day. All right? And usually I tune off about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Friday, and you won't see me again until 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday. That's my 48. But other than that, I'm on the go, and so you guys just keep me in track. All right, how we doing? We good? Let's go. All right. Oh, man, I don't feel good at all. Ugh. Yeah, I can't hear. I can barely hear you. Maybe it's me. Oh, it is me. There we go. Go ahead. What do you got?
I'm just curious, the summary questions that you have for chapters 1 and 2,
Yeah.
how likely are you to pull test questions from those?
That's a great question.
I know some people try and skip that, but if they know how important it is, maybe they won't skip it.
Hey, good question. Excellent question. Love it. Love it. Love it. Y'all don't have a textbook, so I would hit everything that I've given you there this week and next. Okay, everything I've probably given you guys too much, but do not take the test lightly. This week and next, very doable. This thing will gain water very quickly. This thing will get heavy very quickly. So rule number 1, do not get behind on this. Okay? This is your book right here. Okay? And there should be a study guide to it, which is just, I even think it has coloring in it. Whatever. But it's got multiple choice questions and all this and all that. I'm very big about giving you guys answers, questions and answers, these kinds of things, okay? Because you guys are in this, you guys are adults, you guys like to take care of things on your own. So generally my post-lecture practice review questions, I'll also give you the answers as well. Okay, because I want you guys to solve these things through yourself. But as far as pulling questions, and you guys just do what you guys can do. Some of these chapters, you know what I mean, are 40 pages long. Use the chapter summaries. And these big textbooks that are like hundreds of dollars, to be fair, I've dealt with them there my whole life, and I don't know, man. What do you say? 85% of this is junk. It's just filler. Okay, so one of the things you want to do is you never read a chapter going from page 1. You always read a chapter going from the back, because at the back there's a chapter summary. Okay, you read that. It's about a page and a half, and it knocks off all the most important points. You cross-reference that against my PowerPoints, and then now you go digging into the rest of the chapter and solving through that way. Don't waste your time. All right? Waste mine. All right? And another rule, which I will say throughout until you guys scream at me, Ian, stop saying it. If there's ever an issue that you guys see, like I'm not perfect, but I strive to be, but I'll never make it, and I'm okay with that. But there might be a mistake or might be something there that looks like a mistake. Maybe you've done a question 3 times and it's not the same answer as what I've given you, or it's what the book is telling you. Do not do that question 3 times. Do a question twice. If you still can't get the right answer, email me. This Ian, question 32 on page 529. I've done it twice. I can't get the answer there that they're asking. Can you tell me? And I'll go and do it, and I'll tell you. You wouldn't believe they pay PhDs thousands and thousands of dollars to proofread these, to make questions for these, and I swear 10% of the answers in the back of these textbooks are wrong. So don't waste your time, waste mine. Okay? Other than that, any more questions? That was a good one, though. I like that. I like laughing. That was good. That was funny. And I want you guys to have fun with this course. I'm serious, but you got to have fun, too. And yes, of course, I pull a certain amount of questions from homework. Every teacher does. All right. How we doing? We good? Let's go. Oh, man, I don't feel good. Ugh. Where's my share? That it is.
Hi there. I just believe there was a quick question in regards to if the test will be open book or not.
Oh, well.
Just in the chat.
Yeah, well, I can't control what y'all do at home, can I? It is. And that's how, like, when tests, I think tests should be open book. When you walk into a doctor's office, you know what I mean? They are sitting behind a desk. What's behind them? There's usually about 2 bookcases with about 800 books behind them, right? Well, it's open book for him. It's open book for you too. Okay, so good question. That's all part of it. Okay, these tests are not designed to fail you. If you all come to my class, you do your readings, you're walking out of here with 95, which is where you want to be. Okay, I promise you. No one gets left behind in my class. Good. Okay, let's go. Good questions, by the way. Okay, that's chapter 2. What is my chapter 1? That's what I'm looking. Oh, and within the, you'll see there chapter 1, what I did was with a pair of box cutters, I cut the, I couldn't get a good scan. This is actually a page from my book that I cut out. And I'll show you guys here. You guys can't see it yet, and I'll show you right here. And right here, this is from the very first page. And I just actually cut this out because there's, for some reason, I couldn't get an e-copy. And you guys should have e-copies and all that kind of stuff there when your textbook comes in. There's lots of resources there online through the publisher Elsevier. We'll talk about that there when the books come. You'll see all these words here. Some of them there are 5-alarm important. Some of them are 1-alarm important. Okay? Homeostasis. That word will carry through pretty much every single chapter that we do. So, homeostasis, we'll get into that. It's just the, how do you say it? If you were playing volleyball or playing any sports, your coach or your parent would say, you know, if you're playing football flat-footed, you know, you're not really ready for the ball. You're kind of up on your feet, you know, on the front parts of your feet. You're ready to go. You're bouncing around. You're ready for that shot. You're ready for, well, this is the body's way of being ready for anything. The body is perfect. The body's awesome. What's kind of imperfect is how it interacts with the outside world, because there's a lot of things in the outside world there that want to take the body down. So the body has to be prepared for bacteria, for viruses, for a windstorm. What if a bear appeared right there and you've got your daughter right here. Well, all of a sudden now the adrenaline's going to start flowing. Now, you've all heard of the story there where a 110-pound woman lifts up the back of a Honda Civic because her baby's trapped under it. It's all there. We are all superhuman. We all have that potential. And when you're talking homeostasis there, it can be applied to all types of regulatory systems, heat, thermal regulation, sugar digestion, all these kinds of things. So we'll get into this. Homeostasis, probably the biggest banana of them all. Okay? I've given you guys all these words. You will see most of them there within the PowerPoint there for Unit 1. Okay? Please have a look at these. Do some, you guys don't have a textbook, but you guys have Google. Okay? And Google and YouTube are the two most important inventions of this millennial generation. Okay? YouTube, use it. There are a number of great websites out there that you guys can sit there and watch videos and learn all day. Okay? So have a look at all these definitions. You will see them again at some point in time. All right? By the way, here are all the objectives there for Unit 1. When you guys get your textbook there, it'll all be there anyway. Okay? As well, within every week, I've given you guys questions. You'll see there that there's your PowerPoint and your terminology there that you just saw. But then you'll see there practice questions. And what I've done is I think I've given you all these different types of questions here. These are from the book. Again, I just cut out the pages of the book because even if I took a picture there with my phone, it didn't show up right. So these are questions there. Again, medical terminologies. And this is right from Chapter 1. And I won't be doing this after week 2 because you guys will have your textbooks. More medical terminology there, and then you'll see there, here's your summary outlines for Chapter 1. So you guys have Chapter 1 here. You don't have the Chapter 1, pages 1 to 29, but you guys have the summary. You guys are in good hands, okay? And you'll see there that there's more summary, okay? And you'll see that there's questions. Okay, and I've given you guys the answers to all those questions there in the chapter summary. I've even given you guys here a Chapter 1 pretest. But not for marks, just for practice. Because maybe some of you guys haven't been in school for 10 years, maybe 15 years. It's okay. There's probably a little bit of anxiety. It's perfectly normal. It's called acute stress. Acute stress, short-term stress, it's actually healthy for you. What's the song? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's chronic stress that kills. You know, long-term stress. Maybe there's somebody having health problems in the family and it's been going on and these kinds of things. It takes a toll. So if you guys are in a chronic, stressful situation, please go and see someone, talk to someone, or get out of that situation. Okay? But short-term stress like this, eat it. It's good for you. It's like an apple. All right? So you guys have lots of stuff to do there for the Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 for week 1. Okay? Let's go. And, yeah, we're only getting started now. What time is it now? We're like 40 minutes in. But today, honestly, we'll be done this by 1:30. Okay? But normally every week, what I'll do is it'll be 5-10 minutes of, hi, how are you? How y'all doing? What's going on? What can I do to help? And strategizing there, okay? So we won't take 40 minutes of blah, blah, blah every week. Introduction to the human body. This is what we're going to be talking about. Anatomy and physiology. We've already discussed a little bit about that. Level of organization of the human body. And you guys, from what I understand, and I deal with this there all the time, especially in pre-health, where I don't know why high schools make the most important decision of a person's life in grade 10, but you're supposed to, or grade 9, you're supposed to choose your entire learning stream when you're 15, 16 years old. Probably when you're most irresponsible, you're supposed to pick the most important courses of your life. Well, when somebody turns 21, they didn't take that grade 11 chemistry, but something happened in their life where they want to go back and be a nurse or a PSW, but you don't have your grade 11 chemistry. Well, courses like this are designed for that, because we're going to take you right back to the atom. We're going to go right back to the atom, and we're going right out to organ systems like the liver or the brain. So don't worry if you feel you don't have the chemistry or scientific background, you're in good hands. Okay, there's that word again. All right, we're going to talk about the 12 organ systems and anatomical position. And yeah, we'll get there. Let's go. We're going to list, if there is somebody with a microphone on or something like that, if you guys could turn your microphones off, turn it on if you have a question for sure, but if you have just a microphone on, if you could just turn it off, that'd be great. Common terms used for relative positions. We'll get there. 3 major planes of the body. Anatomical terminology for quadrants and regions and major body cavities. Okay? Lots of good stuff. Welcome to biology. Here we go. Anatomy, a branch of science that studies the structure. Okay? Physiology studies function. And as I said there, that how something looks is absolutely tied to its function. You look at the fingers there. Okay? This, if let's say we were aliens and this was 3,500 years into the future, and you find a human skeleton, and you look at the bone structure there that's left by it, and you're just okay, this curves here. You know what? This structure, these digits here, they move. This has got to be for grasping and holding on to things. You know what I mean? And you're going to see how truly amazing the body is. It's absolutely the greatest. It's just incredible how intricate and how detailed the body works, and is how efficient it is. It's absolutely incredible. It's going to blow your mind. It still blows my mind teaching this stuff. So you'll notice here that for every PowerPoint there that you guys have, okay, there's little reading parts in here. All right, I encourage you to read them, because some of these are okay, but we'll get into more of these. I have lots more to add to this. If you ever get a chance later on, if you guys can see this there in the bottom, pathophysiology. See, that is the study of how diseases attack the body. That course is so cool, but you can't get there until you do this course. You got to know how the body works. It's incredible. And then you take a course like pathophysiology, where you find out how evil some of these diseases are. Just evil. And I mean that. And how they attack and what they do. And it's just incredible. Like you look at HIV virus. It's a virus there that replicates and destroys the immune system. So I don't quote me on this, but I think nobody has ever died of HIV, AIDS. They always die of some strange form of cancer, or by the flu, something very simple. And we'll get into more of these. And I want you guys to start thinking about the body and the diseases that attack it, because ultimately that's your goal. That's where you guys are going to be. You guys are going to be frontline workers. You guys are out there, and you guys are going to be saving lives. So ask as many questions as you can. Learn as much as you can. And if you don't love it, start to love this. There's a passion here amongst healthcare workers. There's a passion amongst, like my brother, he did pre-health at Georgian College. He's firefighter and paramedic now. He just got hired on there with the City of Toronto. So Georgian College does work this learning does work. And this is only the start of your journey, okay? Here we go. Levels of organization. Atoms, okay? We'll get into more of these there in chapter 2, but atoms are the basic building blocks of everything. And would you believe I'm about 100 kilos, about 220 pounds, should be about 205, but if I jumped off of a box that was a meter off the floor, okay, I would make a thud. But would you believe that myself, as a person of 220 pounds, would you believe that I'm 99.99999999999% empty space? This book, say, made a nice thud. 99% empty space. We'll get into that. Molecules. These are atoms that have come together to make something a little bigger. Still pretty small, okay? But we're going to learn about biological molecules and how they come together, okay? And cells. Trillions of cells in our body, all doing different things. You've got blood cells as opposed to white blood cells. You've got nerve cells. You've got osteons in the bone. They're all specialized in doing their own thing. How do they know? How do they know? And then some even cells, when they know they're under the attack, and they know that they're going to die, they something called apoptosis, cell death, where they take themselves down in order to save the whole body. It's incredible. If you put some cells together, skin cells, and you got a whole bunch of them there together, now you have tissue. Okay? Skin tissue or muscle tissue. So you see, if you hear the word tissue, okay, man, I got a group of cells of the same kind-ish, right? Okay? And then if you have a whole bunch of tissue, now you can move up into the organ scale, the organ level. So if you have enough tissue, now you could have an organ. All right, like a kidney, liver, lungs, these kinds of things. If you include the kidneys and the ureter and the bladder and the urethra, okay, those are 4 different aspects of the renal filtering system, the kidney system, right? The urinary system, the whole process of filtering out your pee out of your blood and excreting it out the ureter, okay, and down to the bladder and out the urethra, that kind of thing. So you'll see their organ systems, there's different players in the game all working together. Okay, that's what we're talking about there with an organ system. And then you have the human organism. All right, and you could have a bug organism. You can have a wolf organism. All these kinds of things. An organism of some kind just means that it's an independent beast, all right, that is interacting amongst other beasts in the outside world. And it's self-contained, like, those big, fat, juicy green flies there that everyone hates in the summertime. They're an organism. They have their own organ systems. They have their own organs, tissue, cells, molecules, and atoms. They can all be broken down. We're just not going to be looking at big, fat, juicy green flies. We're going to be looking at people, because that's where you guys are going. Okay? So there, and you look at this slide here, and this slide is very simple, eh? Oh, we're just going to talk about atoms, molecules, cells, tissues, organs, organ systems. This is the whole course in a nutshell. And we're going to be hitting these there every week, 2 chapters. So I don't want you guys to be afraid, but I want you guys to take this seriously. You guys know what you guys are in for. You guys are going to have so much fun. And before I begin any further, I want you guys to take a mental snapshot of who you are now, where you are now. All right? Because I'll ask you guys again in 12 weeks. And you guys have your picture of who you are there today. Watch and see. I'll ask you guys again there at week 12. You guys will be completely different people. You'll be the same people, but you just watch and see where you are. It's quite amazing where you guys are going, and I'm very excited for you. Major organ systems, okay. Integumentary, which is your skin. Your first line of defense against bugs, infection, and your body has lots of them, okay? That's why you have eyelashes. That's why you have hairs in your nose, here, pubic hair, these kinds of things, right? All these things are there from an evolutionary point of view for protection, okay? Eyebrows, protection. Eyelashes, protection. I remember back when I was a kid there was a Toronto Maple Leaf named Boreas Salming, and I didn't see it happen. I just saw the next stage in the front page of the Toronto Star, but he got cut by a skate. He fell on someone's skate, and the cut was like this. And I mean, it was a bad one. It went like this. It was weird. And then it continued down again. And you see, that's why the eyes are sunken in. Everything there that we see is millions of years of evolution in the works. And that guy, Boreas Salming, he got a skate blade right across here, and because the eyes were sunken in, and because that skate would have hit the eyebrow would have sent messages there to the brain, which would have moved his head, and what happened was saved his eye. He still got 2 eyes. So we're all over that like a duck on a June bug, as my grandmother would say. Skin, skeletal, muscle, nervous is the only one, again, that is not in your syllabus. I've taken it out. There we go. That's a good one. And I've made it your assignment. Okay? So when you guys do get your book there, week 3, your nervous assignment, which I'll detail more there next week, or maybe week 3 when you guys get your book, because you can't do it until you get your book anyway. So, but that'll always be there, and you guys will have to do a little supplementary reading there in order to do that. But we'll talk more about that. Endocrine, okay, hormones, circulatory, blood, lymphatic, okay, lymphatic there. That is that's part of your immune system there, your lymph nodes, disease prevention, disease fighting, okay. Your immune system, again, the same kind of thing. Respiratory, digestive, okay? And your digestion. There's a saying there, from rooter to tutor, okay? We'll go right from a banana, okay, going in the mouth, you chew the banana, you swallow it. And basically from that point in time, as soon as it drops down your esophagus, you now no longer have the control over the banana. All right? It's gone. It's involuntarily taken, and the next time there we see the banana is 36 hours later, okay, in the toilet. So there's a lot that goes on, and it's it's fabulous what goes on. It's amazing. And we're going to talk about that, and we're going to go into some detail. Be prepared for detail. Okay, urinary, okay, that deals with the kidneys, and a lot to do with blood pressure and the heart. So you'll see there that the kidneys and the heart, they are tied together. Okay, and reproductive system there, we'll get into all that there with a bit of hereditary and a little bit of DNA. Chromosomes. So you can have a look here. Sorry. What do we got here? So here's your skin system, okay? Your skeletal. Like, are we going to have to know all the bones? No. But you'll have to know major bones. We're going to go into bones. Can be there's spongy bones. There's flat bones. There's compact bone. The majority of your blood is made in bones. And if you ever break like a femur, you see their femur there? When I was in grade 10, I broke my tibia. That's the big bone right down here. These bones here, like the tibia and the femur, they are designed not to break. You could take a cow femur and bang it on the hood of a car. You can try and smash a cow femur. It doesn't break. These things are designed to withstand. Okay? But if you ever do break one of these, it can be very serious and fatal as well. Okay? But we'll get into all these kinds of things. And you just look at the all the different bone shapes. All right? And you'll see here there when you the ribs. You've got true ribs, false ribs. You've got cartilage ribs. Cartilage. This is your nose, right? That's why if you ever see a skeleton, there's no nose, because cartilage is soft tissue and it'll decompose rather quickly. We'll get into all these kinds of stuff. There's your muscles. Again, are you going to be required to know every muscle? No. But you're going to have to know the attachment as opposed to the origin. Oh my gosh, what's that? We'll get there. You'll have to know how muscles move, the difference there between a tendon and a ligament. But we'll get there. There's lots here, and you'll see me here. I'll throw a word out, and you'll think, oh my God, what's he talking about there, that word? But then you'll hear it again a week later in its full context, and that's kind of how I teach. I do a little bit of foreshadowing. Watch and see. We'll have some fun. What do we got here? There's your nervous system. Oh yeah. That is, and each of these you could do 50 PhDs on each, and there are thousands of PhDs on every organ system. We're not going to go in that depth. We're just going to be kind of like throwing a flat rock on the surface of a still lake, right? We're just skipping along, and that's where we're going, okay? There's your nervous system. You have the CNS, which is called your central nervous system, and that is just your brain and spinal column. That's called your central nervous system, CNS. We have what's called your PNS, your peripheral nervous system, which is all the nerves going to and coming from my big toe, so to speak, right? So there's all these different things going on here. And yeah, that's a good one. Can't wait for you guys to do a bit of research on that one and ask me some questions. There's your cardiovascular. Okay. And lots going on there as well. Okay. What do we got here? Here's your endocrine, your thymus, your thyroid. Okay. Iodine. Anybody here know iodine there? We need for our endocrine system. But we'll get into all these kinds of things here, okay? Here's your lymphatic. You'll see that your lymphatic is actually tied to your cardiovascular system. Wherever blood is being transported, okay, generally you will see it represented in green kind of right beside it. And that's your lymph system. And you guys will be dealing with this particular phenomenon if you guys are working in a retirement home or something like this. Like I remember when my gram was alive there, you know, and generally elderly people, they will, Gram was in great shape. She was 98. I think she had she had breast cancer. She was diagnosed with breast cancer at 87. And when you're that elderly, your metabolism is so slow, the breast cancer wasn't even a threat. And so, but when you're talking the lymph system here, the entire body with the cardiovascular system, you have your veins and your arteries, and they're carrying blood. Your heart is pumping the blood all out, and then it's delivering oxygen there to my big toe. And then my big toe takes in the oxygen and gives out carbon dioxide. So now the blood on its way back to the heart, okay, is really not oxygenated. It has carbon dioxide in it as a majority, and takes that back to the lungs, where the lungs blow with the carbon dioxide, right? Well, it looks like a perfectly contained system, right? The blood doesn't leave anywhere. The blood is all in the arteries and the arterioles and then the capillaries and then, into the veins and the venous system and back to the heart. It looks like a 360-degree closed system. Well, it ain't. Okay? There are leaks. There really are leaks. Okay? And if anyone has a varicose vein, all that is, you got leaky veins. You're going to be fine. You just have a leaky vein. That's all it is. And in an imperfect system, which the body is pretty close to, but you'll see that elderly people will wear special socks. Okay? And they're kind of tight socks. Kind of like nylon. They're special. And what they do is they squeeze the feet because, as with gravity, everything drops, right? So the blood is being circulated there by the heart, but if the heart ain't that strong, okay, the heart is pumping the blood, but I may blow your mind here, but the heart is not responsible for pumping the blood all the way through the body back to the heart. Let me repeat that again. The heart is not responsible for pumping the blood all the way around and back to the heart. No. The heart is responsible for pumping the blood to my big toe. That's it. And the heart's done. How does that blood get back to my big toe? Well, we'll talk about this there week 5, but it's called the skeletal pump. All right? And what this is, the only way for that blood from my big toe to get back to my heart and my lungs to get more oxygen and dump off the CO2, the only way for that blood to get from my big toe back up to the heart is I got to move. I got to shake. I got to dance. I got to run. I got to walk. I got to do something. It's called your skeletal pump. And if you're moving and walking and doing this, what happens is the blood, and makes it kind of like climbing a set of stairs. All right, which I will totally go into crazy detail. I'm just kind of throwing ideas at you and hoping some of it sticks. All right, it's quite amazing how this all works. This skeletal pump is responsible, not your heart, for getting the blood back to the heart. Well, some of these veins are leaky, and there will be fluid that leaks out. All right? And this fluid accumulates in the feet due to gravity. And elderly people generally don't tend to be as active as somebody of a younger person, so therefore their skeletal pump isn't working, so that's why their feet will swell. All right, these kinds of things. You guys will be dealing with this out in the field, and there are just some interesting things. And honestly, I swear to God, we haven't even touched the top of the iceberg yet. We are going to go down the rabbit hole, and we're going to have some fun. It's going to be good. It's going to blow your minds. What else we got here? There's your digestive. Okay. So there's your banana. Turns into a bolus, just a ball of mush. Comes down the esophagus into your stomach. We'll go through all the different parts of the stomach. Then into your small intestine. Okay. Where you have the nutrients absorption. And just a little question to ask you. Which is healthier for you? A glass of apple juice that you just bought from the local supermarket off the shelf. You know, the little, you turn the tops. All right. A glass of apple juice that's been sitting on the shelf. Or a glass of Coca-Cola. You don't have to answer. We'll come back to that. I'll let you guys figure that one out. And I may throw you guys for a loop.
None.
Sorry?
None.
That's a good one. The apple juice, orange juice. There's actually a really good movie I'm not going to test you on it. I'm just going to see if I can throw the. It's called Fed Up. FED, Fed Up, UP. And it's a movie on sugar. Sugar is the new smoking. And you drink a glass of Coca-Cola. Well, it is just as bad as a glass of apple juice. I swear. Okay, a glass of that apple juice off the shelf, that's been pasteurized. Pasteurized means it's been cooked, it's been heated to 70 degrees. Okay, and in theory, that kills 99% of all the bacteria in it. So that's why it has a long shelf life. There's nothing alive in that apple juice. It's been cooked. It's just dead sugar water when they add some ascorbic acid, powder, vitamin C in it. No, it's healthy, it's healthy, it's healthy. It's not. It's not. And you see, in an apple, there is a heck of a lot of sugar. Crazy. Crazy amounts of sugar in an apple. But your body's pretty dumb in the respect, I have to say this, okay? In the respect of eating an apple. Because there's a huge amount of fiber in an apple. So you eat this apple, there's crazy amounts of sugar, but your body's got to fight through all the fiber. There's some sugar. So I'm exaggerating here, but your body has to expend 80 calories in order to get the 60 calories of sugar in your apple. So in a kind of a sense, you're actually losing weight when you're not. But the amount of fiber in an apple or an orange or any type of fruit counters the amount of sugar in there, so that when you eat an apple, your blood sugar doesn't spike because your body is dealing with all of the fiber. But if you just drink a glass of apple juice, well, there's no fiber. So all you're getting is sugar water. That's all it is. Sorry, I don't mean to be breaking any hearts here. But what happens when you drink a glass of apple juice is exactly the same thing as when you drink a glass of Coca-Cola. Glass of Coca-Cola has, 12 or 13, not teaspoons, tablespoons of sugar in a can. So when you drink a can of Coca-Cola, your liver actually fibrillates, freaks out, because there's so much sugar right now, no fiber. Your liver freaks out, okay, and it starts to process this, and your blood sugar spikes. And then your body releases the insulin, which tells the cells reluctantly, they don't want to, tells the cells, look, open yourself up. We need to get this sugar out of the blood system. There's too much sugar in the, like, it's an emergency, right? And so all the cells open up and they absorb all this extra sugar. All right, that's what insulin does, right? But over a long period of time, if you continually eat these kinds of foods where it causes your blood sugar to spike, insulin, your body is still making insulin. It's the receptors on the cells that don't work anymore. They become, desensitized to, because there's always insulin in the system, because this person is always eating or drinking high sugary foods. So the cells become desensitized to insulin, and therefore now you are pre or post, or you are type 2 diabetes, right? So the really, really good movie, Fed Up, all right? And we're going to go through all this stuff, all right? What do we got here? Last one here, respiratory system, okay? Breathing. We've got the urinary. That's all this system here. And then we've got sexual reproduction. All right. Homeostasis. This is your body's ability to maintain a stable internal environment. So you see, your body is always in flux. Your body's never like this. Your body is never sitting flat on its feet. Because if you're sitting flat on your feet, you're going to get eaten by a bear, or something bad is going to happen to you. You're not prepared for any type of environmental condition that's out there. Well, homeostasis prevents this and ensures that the body is ready for any type of danger. And we'll get into this. Homeostatic mechanisms help maintain homeostasis. The body is always in flux. Your sugar level is never like this. Your sugar level is always being monitored on both sides of the spectrum. And we'll get into more of these kinds of stuff there. What do we got here? Anatomical position. You'll see here. Okay, when we're talking, and you guys will, this is your career. This is everything right here. Okay, and when you're talking anatomical position, it's like this. Here's the front of the person, palms out. Okay, this is what we call the standard anatomical position. So, there are different words that we are going to use. Okay, and you can see here, there's lots down here to read here. Okay, but let's go over them. Superior and inferior. Okay, my eyes are superior to my nose. My nose is inferior to my eyes. Just means above and below. Anterior and posterior, front and back, respectively. Medial and lateral. Medial means closer to the midline. Lateral means closer to the side. So my shoulder is lateral to my heart. My heart is medial to my shoulder. Strange. Medical terminology. That's what this is. Proximal and distal. Proximal means towards the point of attachment. Distal means away. So my fingertips are distal to my shoulder. Okay? My wrist is proximal. It's closer to. Okay? Closer to me. Distal means away from. Superficial and deep. Here we're talking about generally about skin. Excuse me. Superficial. A superficial wound is close to the skin surface. A deep tissue wound is down underneath the muscle, down in there. And then we have central and peripheral. Okay, it's kind of the same as proximal and distal there. We got center and away. Okay, just some words there. You will see these again on test 1. You know what I mean? And you guys will have them all there. I encourage you, oops, did I just say this? I encourage you when you guys have a test to have all of your information in front of you so you don't have to dig for it, you know, so yeah, it's all there. There are 3 planes of the body here that I want to deal with. And you'll see here you have what's called the sagittal plane. Divides the body lengthways into right and left. So here's your sagittal plane. And alright. And if you guys have ever had an MRI done or any of these soft tissue scans done, they can actually do this. They can take, it's very, very cool. You can take layers off and see, 10 centimeters under what you were looking at. It's absolutely incredible. Okay. We have the frontal plane, which dissects the body into a front half and a back half. Okay? And then we've got a transverse plane, which takes off, separates there at the belly button into a top and left. Top and bottom. Okay? What do we got here? Some regional terms. So, have a look at these ones here. Not all of these there I'm going to get you on, but there might be, I like this one, popliteal. Popliteal means knee, okay? Your glutes, these muscles here. Gluteal, you'll see there, gluteus maximus. That's the muscles there of the derriere. There's your lumbar, lower back. Scapular comes from your scapula. That's a bone there that we'll deal with there in week 3. deltoid area, occipital, back of the head. Have a look at these. And I guess for a testing situation, you really wouldn't have to memorize these things, but you just need to have them there. And you see, the whole point of this course in conjunction there with the next course, all of your courses are tied together. So these words here, you will see again 100%. So you might as well start using them and knowing them a little bit. Plantar, okay, on the bottom of the foot. You guys have heard of a plantar wart. Okay, these are warts there that grow. They grow out, but because you're stepping on them all day long, they grow in. Okay, umbilical, pubic region, your patella, that's your kneecap, digits, those are your fingers. Have a look at these. All right, some of them there you will have never seen before. Some of them there you will. You'd surprise yourself. Okay. And different cavities of the body here. We've got dorsal and ventral. Dorsal cavity there. You've got the and here we've got the cranial. Okay. We've got the spinal cavity. All right. And these words are plural and mediastinum. We'll get into all of these. All right. Ventral cavity. You have the thoracic. And the pleural cavity will cover more there when we get into respiration, but you'll see how interesting. I want everyone here to take a deep breath. Back a million years ago when I was learning this stuff, just the whole idea that we are not breathing in. That air is rushing in, and it's so amazing how the lungs work. If you take 2 pieces of cellophane or plastic wrap, that you get at Loblaws or Zehrs or whatever, and if you put a little bit of water on one, you stretch it out so it's flat, perfectly flat, and you put a little bit of water, maybe even spray on it, okay, and then you put the other piece of cellophane or plastic wrap on top of it, and if you stretch, if you smooth it all out so they're perfectly flat one on top of each other with a little film of water in the middle. I don't care if you're the Hulk. You will never be able to take these 2 pieces of plastic wrap apart without ripping them. Sure, you could rip them apart, but then the whole point is that's how the lungs work. When you breathe in, all you're doing is you're expanding your thoracic cavity, you're expanding your chest. And with that expansion, what happens is the muscles pull, and these 2 pieces of cellophane, plastic wrap, that you'll see there, your pleural cavity and your lung when we get there, they carry each other. And that's how breathing works. And it's incredible. I love it. All these words here, abdominopelvic. The hardest part of a bio course is the Latin. It's all these new words, and this is only the beginning. So my advice to you, all these words there, keep them, have them around. When you guys do get the textbook there, you guys will see there's a vocabulary list there for each chapter and all that. Okay, but abdominal pelvic cavity kind of makes sense. Abdomen, your abdomen, and your pelvis, so you can kind of get an idea of where this is. Okay, have a look at that. And you'll see here that the abdominal pelvic cavity can be divided into 4 or even 9 regions. Okay, your right upper quadrant, left upper quadrant, these kinds of things here. Okay, have a look at all these. They may be required at some point in time. Okay, so as far as this chapter goes, that's it. There really isn't that much, and I like it. Okay, I don't really want to throw too much at you there this week. If you can give me 2 seconds, I'll get Unit 2 or Chapter 2, and we'll just carry on. There we go. How are we doing? Was there any questions? I don't think that was too bad. Yeah, we're all right. Yeah, what do you
I
got?
just have one quick question.
Yeah.
Does the nasal cavity not count, or is that something to do?
The head is awesome. If you have so many cavities in your head, like if your head was a solid hunk of meat, basically, it would weigh a lot. You know the potential there to break your neck and all these kinds of things. If this was solid, your head has a lot of cavities in it. No, sorry, cavities, not like teeth cavities. I mean holes, and which lighten the load. Oh, you got cavities all over the place. So yeah, we're gonna nasal cavity. You've got them all. So good question. We're just doing an overview there today, but when we get into the cranium itself, we'll hit that one too. Good question. Chapter 2. Here we get into a bit of chemistry. And don't be afraid of it. Chemistry, what do we got? Now, chemistry and biology and physics and all these kinds of things work together. And don't be afraid of this stuff. This stuff here we're going over so that you can do the macro stuff. We have to do the micro before we do the macro. So have a look at this. Ask as many questions as you can. But we're going to be going over this there. It's not too heavy, but some of it might be a little confusing, but I think we'll do all right. This is what we're going to be doing here. These are the objectives there for Chapter 2. We're going to define terms matter, element, and atom. We're going to list 4 elements that comprise 96% of the body. All right. We're going to describe 3 components of an atom and the role of electrons. Okay. We're going to talk about ionic, covalent, and hydrogen bonding and what an ion is. You know, like when you guys take vitamins, they're calcium, magnesium, these kinds of things there. Those are elements, and you ingest them. Okay? The role of these ions, the role of these elements like magnesium and calcium and all these things, you wouldn't believe how important they are. We grew up our whole lives. Mom always told me calcium, you got to drink your milk in because it's good for your teeth and good for your bones. Okay, Mom, I believe you. She didn't lie, but she didn't tell the whole picture. Okay? She didn't tell me there that my bones are basically just a library or a repository to store minerals. Okay? So your body's not dumb. If there's extra calcium in the blood or extra magnesium or phosphates or any of these type of ions, which we'll talk about, it's not going to throw it out. It's going to store it on the bones. And then when the calcium levels drop in the blood, we can pull those ions off the bones and use them how we want. Because calcium, you need it for your teeth. But no muscle or nerve would fire without calcium. Calcium makes your heart go. Calcium makes your nerves go. Makes your brain go, everything. Calcium is mucho bueno importante. All right? But we'll get into all those. Okay? Matter. What's the matter? Matter is anything that has mass and volume. This pencil here has a mass of 1 gram. And it has a volume of, I don't know, maybe 5 milliliters. Okay? Anything that is matter occupies space and has weight. Okay? There are 3 states of matter. Actually, there are 4. There's solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. But we won't be dealing with plasma. Plasma exists only in stars. Okay? But like water can be a solid, liquid, or a gas. Right? So there are 3 states of matter there that you need to be concerned about. Matter can change 2 different ways. Okay, there's something called a physical change, where you see what they're doing there. They're cutting a piece of wood. So if I take a log and if I cut it into 2 logs, Have I changed anything? Are they still logs? Sure they are. It's called a physical change, right? And you can, it's still, you haven't changed the composition. It's still wood. Okay, there's two pieces. There used to be one, but it's still wood. It's just a physical change. But if I burn this wood, and yeah, we've all done it. You burn a log there, and then you go to bed there at night, and you wake up there next morning, and your log is gone. Where did it go? It's been burned. It's been chemically altered. It's a chemical change. You cannot reverse this process. Just like the whole idea, if I mix my eggs, my flour, my sugar, my baking powder, my salt, a little bit of milk, these kinds of things, and I make a nice cake batter, put it all in, put it in the oven, bake it for 30 minutes. Wow, I got a cake. Can I get my eggs back? Nada. It's a chemical change. Okay, so a physical change, you can get what your original product back. A chemical change, no. All right, like if you look at if I put salt into water, mix it. Okay, I've got a solution of salty water. Is that a physical change or a chemical change or what's going on here? Can I get my salt back? Yes, you can. You can boil the water, the salt water. All the water will evaporate. What is left in the bottom is your salt. So it's a physical change. Okay, good. Elements: gold, silver, oxygen, magnesium, calcium. These are elements there. These are the basic building blocks, compositionally speaking, of any type of thing. Okay, so yeah, element matter composed of atoms that have the same number of positive charges. So an atom, we'll get into what an atom is there, but an element, these are the basics, and there are it changes. I think there's 108 elements, but hydrogen, helium, lithium, magnesium, oxygen, carbon, these kinds of things. If you Google, I'll just write this down here. If you Google the periodic table, sorry, somebody really wants to get a hold of me. Buzz off. There you go. If you Google periodic table, okay, that's a list of all your elements there in the known universe. Okay, so elements, periodic table, there you go. There are 4 elements when you're dealing with biology that are kind of the kingpins. Okay, and would you believe oxygen, we are 65% oxygen and we're about 10% hydrogen. So together, those two things, we're about 75% hydrogen and oxygen. So hydrogen and oxygen is water. So we're basically just great big water bags, salt water bags. That's what we are. We're about anywhere between 60 to 65, 70% water, right? And then we've got almost 20% is carbon. And nitrogen is in there. A good little note there, if you see nitrogen, it means muscle. All right? It's a good one. Amino acids. So that is, we are 96%, these guys here. We have a little bit of iron. Where is iron found? Blood. We've got some copper, we've got some zinc. All these little micronutrients are in there. We need them, and they're in relatively small amounts, even a little bit of iodine. Okay, these things. By the way, which is our only known source of iodine? Anybody know? Here in Barrie. Salt.
Is it in our drinking? Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I answered too quick. There's a whole bunch of things in our water. Our water is very mineralized. Sadly, I think Barrie, at least here in Barrie, doesn't have any fluoride for the teeth. But yeah, interesting, eh? Interesting.
Most store-bought fish also has
iodine pumped into it to keep it good for longer.
Sorry, say it again.
Most store-bought fish has iodine pumped into it to keep it fresh for longer.
Really?
Yep. I have an allergy to it, so too much of it, I actually break out.
Get out. I'm going to write that one down. Thank you. Now, that's good. I want to find out more of that because, interesting. Fish and iodine. Yeah. Because iodine generally isn't found in anything. And so to prevent goiter, which is the, we'll get into all this kind of stuff, Goiter, goiter, when there's an iodine imbalance in the system. But yeah, a little bit of table salt, iodized table salt, and away you go. Interesting. I'm going to get back to you on fish and iodine. That's a new one for me. And by the way, if feel free to ask any question. I may not have the answer right here and now, but I will promise I'll get you the answer. So ask as many questions as you can. So yeah, I've already started a list of interesting things that I'll report back to you on there next week. Okay? Knowledge is power. Da-da-da-da. What do we got here? Atoms. Okay, there are 3 parts to an atom. And, you know, like, I know that for all intents and purposes, this will do. If this is your understanding of the atom, it's really not. But the whole idea that there's a central nucleus at the center, okay? There's a nucleus that doesn't move, and then there are electrons that float around. There are 3 parts to the atom, okay? There are protons, which are positive, neutrons, which are neutral, protons positive, neutrons neutral, and there are electrons, which are negative. Okay, so in the nucleus, the center of the atom, okay, this is where you find the protons and neutrons. Okay, neutrons don't have a charge. They're not involved in chemistry. All right, electrochemistry anyway. But around the nucleus, you'll have electrons, which are negative. And let's say we have 8 protons in the nucleus. So it means we have 8 positive charges in the nucleus. We will have 8 negative charges floating around as electrons, because everything has to have balance. Okay, and so neutrons do not play a role in any of this. They're just in the nucleus. All right, but know that there are 2 things in the nucleus. There'll be protons and neutrons. Protons are positive, and however number of protons we have in the nucleus, you'll have the same number of electrons, because they're negative, floating around. And that's why we kind of use this analogy here, the solar system analogy. Like if this was your nucleus here, there'd be protons, okay, and neutrons in here. And however many protons you have here, you'll have the same number of electrons floating around, because things have to be balanced. Okay? Generally speaking, for now. All right? And you'll see here that here's a very generalized view of the atom. And you'll see here that I've got here's my nucleus. Okay, I've got neutrons, protons in there, okay? And you see all their respective charges here. And around here, floating out into space, in these orbits or shells, you'll have electrons. And they're floating around. All right? And it's very, very fascinating, because what I'm going to do now is, you'll see here, I'm going to go to Google. Oh, sure, my Google turns on.
How can I help?
You can't help. I'm just going to turn you off. There you go. Thank you. Okay. So, what do we got here now? I want to show you guys. Here, give me 2 seconds. I want to show you guys something here. Sodium. Okay, good. Now I can screen share this again. You guys all know salt. It's very yummy stuff. It's great on your pizza. But salt is something called sodium chloride. Sodium chloride means that there's two elements going on in here. There's sodium and chlorine. Well, sodium metal is this metal that is very, very dangerous. If you held it in your hand, it would burn your hand. It would go right through your hand. It would actually catch fire in your hand and burn you. It's horrible stuff. You could never eat it. It's nasty. It's metal that you can cut like butter. It's this stuff right here, sodium metal. If chlorine gas, it's green. It's horrible stuff. Why am I not getting a good picture of chlorine gas? Maybe it's just going chlorine. There we go. Green. It's hideous. It's probably one of the most painful deaths you could ever experience. Okay, they used it in World War I. It's heavier than air. It would go down into the foxholes, and it was just horrible stuff. If you mix sodium metal with chlorine gas, two hideously poisonous things, what happens is one electron, you know those electrons that are floating around, one of those electrons jumps from sodium onto chlorine. That's it. And what happens now when one of those electrons that are floating around jumps from one to another? Now you have created a completely different banana. We're not dealing with sodium anymore. We're not dealing with chlorine gas anymore. Now what is formed is sodium chloride. So from a poisonous thing, we have now made something that is really yummy on your spaghetti. And what happened? One electron jumped from the sodium to the chlorine. That's all that happened, and you completely changed everything. Well, when you're dealing with chemistry here, that's all that's going on. And when one of these electrons jumps, so this atom right here, whatever it is, if an electron jumps from another atom onto it, or one of these electrons jumps on, now you have done chemistry. Now you've changed something. This is the whole idea of a chemical change. And like you think, there was the analogy there with the log burning there before. Well, what do you think you're doing with your banana when you eat it? You eat that banana, okay? Banana goes down into your stomach and goes into your intestine there, and we extract the nutrients from it, all the sugars, all these kinds of things. Well, what happens is you are burning that banana at a very low temperature. See, when you burn that log, you get all this massive amounts of fire, this energy release, because that's how much energy is in that log. Well, your body is burning that banana at a very low temperature. Okay? And what happens is your body takes that energy and utilizes it. So now we can do muscle, we can move, we can exercise, we can do all these things. So the burning of the log is exactly the same as you digesting a banana or a peanut butter sandwich. You're burning it at a very low temperature, and your body is extracting the fire, holding it, and now you're able to utilize that energy for your own good to move and do these kinds of things. So there's lots of interesting stuff here. The atomic number of an atom, okay, is the number of protons. Okay, carbon has an atomic number of 6. What does that mean? 6 protons in its nucleus. The atomic mass number is the number, write this down, the mass number is the number of protons and neutrons in a nucleus. Let's go over these two again. The atomic number is the number of protons in a nucleus. The atomic mass number is the number of protons and neutrons in a nucleus. So the atomic mass number tells you how many protons and neutrons are in a nucleus. The atomic number, just protons. Okay, so if we go back to here, mass number carbon. And you'll see here, let's just have a look at this one here. You can see any of these right here. Here is carbon, and this is what you will see on the periodic table. You'll see 2 numbers for each of these guys here. Okay, and this is the information there for carbon. If you just punch in any type of periodic table and it comes up, this is what you will see. You'll see 2 numbers for each element. You'll see the atomic number, which is always the smallest, okay, and then you'll see the mass number, okay. The mass number is protons and neutrons. This is just the number of protons. So looking at this, carbon, 12.011, just make it 12. How many protons do I have? 6. Why? Because my atomic number is 6. The bigger number here is the atomic mass number. This is protons and neutrons. So can you tell me how many neutrons carbon has? You subtract the bigger one from the smaller one and you get 6. So carbon has 6 protons and 6 neutrons. Its nucleus has 12 bananas in there. It's got 6 protons and 6 neutrons. That composes the nucleus. Okay, 12 in there. All right. So that's how this one works. What else we got? An isotope. And again, I'm throwing this stuff at you. Are you really going to have to know what an isotope is to where you guys are going? No. But it's on here. We'll have a look at it. There, with all these different elements, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, plutonium, uranium, all these lead, all these different elements that are out there. There can be different forms of them. And I'm not going to go too heavy into all these of why, but what happens is there are carbon can be 6 protons with 6 neutrons, or it can be 6 protons with 8 neutrons. There are different variations of the same atoms out there, and all they are, please remember this because this is the answer I'll be looking for. They are atoms that have the same atomic number, same protons, different neutrons, different number of neutrons, different atomic mass number. As far as that's where I would like to go as far as isotopes go. I would go further if I was teaching a chemistry course, but it's really not. Just know that an isotope of carbon, here I have 2 different isotopes of carbon. They both have the same atomic number, 6 and 6, but they will have different number of neutrons. That's it. That's all I want to do. That's all. You guys can do more research on it, but that's the only answer I'll be looking for if I do ask for anything about that. The whole idea of these electrons. If I take this pencil, I know you guys can't see it, and if I put it on the floor, it can't really go any lower. It's at its lowest energy level. But now I take this pencil and I put it up on my desk. You can't see it, but it's on my desk. It, in comparison to the pencil when it was on the floor, does it have more energy now or when it was on the floor? Well, of course, it has more energy now because I can actually push this pencil off the desk and you see, I just pushed it off and it had all that stored energy in it, and then it dropped, it released this energy. So the higher generally something is, the more potential energy it has. And it carries the same with electrons. And if you go back to here, this slide, you'll see that we have 2 electrons in this shell. And then we have 8. Do we have 8? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we have, yes, we do have 8. And we have 8 electrons in this shell. And this is one of the, it's kind of like the same thing, the pencil analogy. And if I put this pencil up on top of the bookshelf over there, it would have more energy than either of the either two combined, the two situations, the floor or the desk. And so these electrons, depending upon their shell, generally the higher the shell, the more energy they have, the more crazy they act. Okay, so that's what we're talking about there when we get into electron shells. I'm not going to go too heavy into all this. You just need to know there that the higher the shells, the more energy there they'll have. And there's a good one there called the octet rule. Do a bit of digging on that one. Octet rule. Generally, in chemistry, 8 is the magic number. Okay? And you'll see there that, you see this one right here, it's got 8 electrons in the outer shell. It's actually, that's a good sign. I'm not going too heavy into this, but that's what we're talking about there. And this one here I've kind of already alluded to. If you take sodium metal, which you can cut like butter, it's wicked to look at, but dangerous as sin. All right? And if you mix this with chlorine gas, which is probably one of the most poisonous things known to humankind, if you mix these two things together, one single electron jumps from the sodium metal to the chlorine, and in that process, when that electron jumps, a bond is formed between the sodium and the chlorine atom. Now you have sodium chloride, all because of one puny little electron jumping. Now you've changed the entire composition of the chlorine and the sodium, and you've made something yummy. Okay, this is what we call a chemical bond. And what happened there? An electron moved. That's the entire world. Those trees right now, living, the walls within the cement there, the mortar of the building across the street, all of these chemical reactions, everything that goes on in the oven is just a matter of an electron jumping. It's quite amazing. There's 3 types of bonds here that we'll have to deal with. Okay, there's an ionic bond, okay, and you'll see here, here's my sodium, here's my chlorine, here's your example right here. And you'll see you have all your electrons in their different shells. On the outer shell of the sodium, you have 1 electron. Well, it's not happy here. And chlorine has 7 electrons on its outside. You can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's not happy. Because what's the magic number in chemistry? 8. So what happens is one of these electrons jumps here. Okay, so now chlorine has 8. Sodium loses this 1. So this shell just is removed. And how many electrons do we have underneath sodium? We have 8 on the outside, so it's happy now. And in this process right here, we now make sodium chloride, and this is a brand new chemical. That's salt. So this is what we call an ionic bond. Metal with a non-metal. Ionic, metal with a non-metal. Here we've got a covalent. Okay, this is non-metal, non-metal. I'll say that again. Covalent bond is non-metal with a non-metal. All right, so hydrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, nitrogen, all these guys are non-metals. Okay. Metals would be calcium, sodium, all these guys on the other side there, okay, of the periodic table. But again, I'm not going into, as long as you can remember an ionic bond is with a metal and a non-metal, use the example of sodium and chlorine there, I love it. For a covalent bond, it's a non-metal and a non-metal. And you look here, Here I've got an oxygen atom. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 electrons on its outside. Here I have a hydrogen atom and a hydrogen atom. And you look at these. What's going on in the nucleus of a hydrogen atom? It looks like there's one proton. And that's all there is. This is a hydrogen atom, one proton. And here I've got my oxygen. And you see how these guys all go together. It's not the same as an ionic. You see what this one here transferred the electron all the way over. Chlorine's got this electron, that's it. It's not giving it back. You'll see here with a covalent bond, there's no metals, it's all non-metals here. They share their electrons. And in this process, now look, you've got 3 atoms hooked together. This is what we call a molecule. This is a water molecule. It is free to go in your glass. It's swimming around in here. This is a coffee, yes, that's right, but they're free things here. So oxygen molecules in the air, hydrogen molecules in the air, these kinds of things. These are molecules. Molecules are synonymous with covalent bonding, sharing of electrons. These guys here, ionic, no sharing, transfer electron, they do not make molecules. They make crystals. Like salt is a crystal. It's a crystal lattice structure. Okay? Molecules are not. They are their own beasts, floating around in your glass or in the air. Sharing of electrons. Okay. Hydrogen bonding. This is a special kind, and you guys have to know this. You guys can't do DNA without this. This is the whole reason why water, I love it, love to drink it, love to bathe in it. It's great. But you really got to be careful if you do a backflip off a diving board and land flat on your back in your buddy's swimming pool, because there's a great chance you could break your back, because water is the strangest substance we've ever known. But thank goodness it's strange, because without it we wouldn't be here. Water acts like a liquid. But water, because of this hydrogen bonding, acts like cement. And if you ever take a shoelace, if you turn the faucet on the on your tap, turn it on low. Great little experiment there if you got the kids. Take a shoelace and you got a little bit of water coming out. Take one end of the shoelace, put it up to the mouth of the faucet there, and then pull the end of the shoelace down over to this side, and you'll see the water snake along the shoelace and then come down over here, because of this hydrogen bonding. And if you look at here, hydrogen bonding, this is the water molecule here. And you've got an oxygen and 2 hydrogens. You look at who's the big boss here between the 3 atoms. It's the oxygen. It's the big boss here, okay? And what happens is this molecule, it's its own entity. This side of the molecule becomes negative because oxygen is pulling everything this way. It's such an aggressive molecule. And I'll tell you about oxygen there. We need oxygen to breathe, but eventually oxygen kills us all in the end. I'll tell you about that. And hydrogen here, this whole side of the molecule becomes positive. So basically, this little microscopic thing composed of 3 atoms, it's its own beast, it's its own entity. It's basically a battery. You've got one end of this molecule that is negative, one end of this molecule that is positive. So if I put a whole bunch of these molecules into a glass of water, you've got a negative side of one is interacting with the positive side of another for a millionth of a second. And then it moves over here, and then the negative side of this one is interacting with the positive side of this one for a fraction of a second. So within your glass of water, there are trillions of instantaneous reactions going on that make water super strong if it needs to be. And it's just, this is what we call hydrogen bonding, okay? And it's the whole principle of DNA. DNA, when we get into it there, is this massive, 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 massive molecule. I mean, in comparison to a water, H2O, H2O has 3 atoms in it. A DNA molecule may have 50,000. It's just ridiculous, okay? And that's how a molecule like DNA, what do they want, man? God, it's bothering me. I'm teaching. Okay, so there's a lot there to take in, I know, and we're getting there, all right? An ion is how atoms interact with each other, okay? And this whole idea of gaining electrons or losing electrons, okay? Let's go back to here. Sodium lost an electron. So you have a look here. We have 11 protons, 11 positive charges in the nucleus. We had 11 negative charges floating around, but one of those negative charges jumped. So now we still have our 11 positive, but we only have 10 negative. So what is my overall charge for here? 11 plus 10 negative. My overall charge for sodium now is plus 1. If you look at my chlorine, okay, it had 17 protons and it had 17 electrons. It was neutral, just like the sodium was there, but now you see the chlorine gained an electron. Protons never change. 17 positive, now I have 18 negative. Now chlorine has a charge of -1. So atoms are electrically neutral, but when they get involved in chemical reactions, there is this exchange of electrons, correct? So therefore now electrons, after they've undergone a chemical reaction, or the atoms have undergone a chemical reaction, they have either lost electrons, as the sodium did, and became positive cations. Cations, positive. If atoms gain an electron, they gain a negative charge, they become negative. They become anions. Okay, right here. 2 types of ions. Cations are positive. They have lost an electron. Anions are negative. They have gained an electron. They're negatively charged. Electrolytes. You guys have probably heard this there from Gatorade. By the way, don't ever buy Gatorade again. It's $4 for a bottle, and all it is just salt water with a little sugar in it. If you guys want to make Gatorade, make Kool-Aid or Freshie or whatever. Make a jug of Kool-Aid and add a little bit of salt and very little sugar. You've now made Gatorade for a big jug of it for about 5 cents, and Gatorade is a complete waste of money. Electrolytes there, these are just ions that have been dissolved. So all they do, Gatorade, it says electrolytes, you need your electrolytes there. All they've done is they've just dumped table salt in and charged you $4 for 300 milliliters. Common ions, common cations, you'll see there sodium. Okay, and if you guys find, I can post a periodic table. I'll do that right now, actually. Okay, you will see there that there's a English name, and then you will see its chemical symbol. And you're trying to think, oh, how do they get Na from sodium? Sodium starts with an S. You have to remember there that this whole thing is comes from Latin, and Latin for sodium is natrium. So that's why they use a completely different symbol for a particular element. But anyway, these are some common ions there that we use all the time. Okay, our body's using right now. Sodium, which we need for all nervous function, all muscle function. I remember I was in the Middle East. I was teaching over in Asia and Africa for, I don't know, 20 years. And I was in the Middle East there my very first summer. It was 2001. And I was trained here in Canada to not put salt on your food because salt is a bad thing. Salt causes heart attacks, these kinds of things, right? So my whole life I never put salt on my food. But after the very first hot night there, and I mean 50 degrees in the shade, seriously. And I woke up there the next morning, 7 o'clock, ready for school, and I couldn't move my arms and my legs. No joke, because I didn't have any electrolytes in me. So then what they did, they took me to the hospital. They filled two IV bags, just salt water to get the electrolytes in me. Sodium, get these charged atoms in me so that my body can, and when we get into muscles and nerves, you'll see how important these guys are. Calcium, there's another one. There's another crazy important. Look at that, components of blood, teeth, blood clotting, muscle contraction, nerve function, the whole thing. Iron there. Hemoglobin, oxygen transport. So these are atoms. We call them ions because ions, the definition of an ion is an atom with a charge. That's it. Could be a positive charge, could be a negative charge, depending upon the atom. Okay, you'll see this one right here. Some more common ions. You've got hydrogen, which we'll get into pH, acids and bases. These kinds of things. Acids deal with hydrogen. Write that one down. Acids, hydrogen. H+. Potassium. I don't know if you guys have heard of your sodium-potassium pump. That's a good one. Nerve and muscle function. Ammonium. This is another one there involved in acid-base regulation. These are all ions because they're atoms with charges. Okay? Common anions, negative charges. Here we've got chloride ion. Here we've got bicarbonate ion. You'll see this one again. This one here is brilliant. Your big toe breathes out carbon dioxide into the bloodstream because a big toe doesn't want any carbon dioxide it wants to get rid of it, right? It wants oxygen. So this dumps the carbon dioxide into the blood, and now the blood is carrying that carbon dioxide back to the lungs. Well, the body's not, it doesn't waste anything. It changes this carbon dioxide into this, which now is crazy important for regulating our blood pH, which we'll get into. You could spend years on this. It's really fun. And the deeper down the rabbit hole you get, the more questions you have and the more deeper you want to get. It's just incredible. And here we have phosphates here involved in teeth and ATP production. Adenosine triphosphate. You'll want to write that one down. That is our energy. When we eat that banana, we make ATP, and now we can use these molecules of ATP. You see how your vocabulary is already expanding? We use these molecules of ATP as energy makers, and we unwrap the packages, we get the energy, and now I can lift that dumbbell. Okay? Getting there. We're just starting. Electrolytes here, when an electrolyte breaks apart in solution. Okay, this is just the whole idea. You see here we have our salt. If I put a spoonful of salt into a glass of water, this is what happens here. You'll see my water molecules all in here. They're all surrounding the atoms that are in here. Okay, you see that these atoms, sodium and chlorine, have broken up, and the water molecules are holding them there. Welcome to a solution. Okay. Here we're into molecules, compounds, a little bit of chemical reactions. We're going to explain the differences there between a molecule and a compound. Okay. And we're going to list 5 reasons why water is essential to life. We're going to talk about what a catalyst and an enzyme is. Little experiment here. It's good for the kids. It's kind of gross, but if you take a piece of bread, white bread, brown bread, doesn't matter, and I don't know, stuff half of it in your mouth and chew it. Don't swallow it, chew it. And just keep chewing it, and it'll turn into a sloppy, disgusting, but eventually, after about 5 minutes or 3 or 4 minutes, this bread sloppy mixture that you've got in your mouth here will actually turn sweet. Because bread is starch. Starch is just sugar molecules that are hooked together, and you have enzymes already in your mouth already that are there. You know, like when Homer Simpson, you're salivating at the mouth, right? Well, you have amylase it's an enzyme in your mouth that the digestion process for starches and simple sugars starts right here in the mouth. Okay, it starts to break things down here. And so we're going to talk about enzymes, catalyst. We'll do a little bit of acid and pH. And here we're going to talk about ATP and the differences there between a mixture, solution, suspension, and a colloid. So, what do we got here? Molecules and compounds. Molecules are 2 or more atoms bonded together. So here I have an oxygen and another oxygen atom. Okay, we bond them together. And you see, this is a nonmetal and a nonmetal, so this would be a covalent bond. Nonmetal, nonmetal. And if you count the outside electrons of each of these oxygens, how many electrons do they have? Well, this guy's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This guy here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so this is what we've got here for molecule. Compounds, though, formed by 2 or more different atoms. So here we've got water. Okay, this is a compound. Salt, sodium chloride, is a compound. Oxygen gas or hydrogen gas or gold, pure gold, these aren't. Okay, all right. This is a molecule here. It only has the 2 atoms there together. A compound. Okay, we've got 2 or more. There's 5 reasons there to love water. Universal solvent. You have your lasagna in the pan and it won't come clean. What do? You throw some water in it overnight, and then there the next morning you can just clean your lasagna pan clean as a whistle, because oxygen is a very aggressive atom. Okay, it's very, very aggressive, and we need it there for breathing. Okay, and we'll get into how oxygen is used in the whole breathing metabolism process, but eventually oxygen is the one there that gives us wrinkles and makes us age, because it is very aggressive. Okay, temperature regulator, of course, water. If we sweat, okay, we're releasing heat. Okay, it's a lubricant, great for the knees and the joints and the shoulders and all that. Crucial part of basically all chemical reactions. I shouldn't say all, but most. The whole idea of vitamin D absorption there from the sun, UV and all that. But and for protection as well. So there's 5 reasons there to love your water. And yes, oxygen and carbon dioxide. Oxygen is the molecule composed of 2 oxygen atoms. Okay, and this exists in nature. The air we breathe. Now this is interesting. The air, like we're dealing in COVID now, where people can't breathe and they're on ventilators, respirators, these kinds of things, where they up the percentage of oxygen because people aren't able, their lungs are so damaged there by COVID there that they can't absorb the oxygen. All right, and because naturally oxygen is only about 21%. So the oxygen concentrations there at the hospital and the ventilator and all that is a lot higher there, so people can absorb and live and hopefully they recover from COVID. Okay, carbon dioxide is a compound that consists of carbon and 2 oxygens. So you'll see there, when you see something written like this, CO2, there is 1 atom of carbon, because in all theory we should be writing a 1 here, but we don't write ones. Okay, so there's 1 carbon atom and 2 oxygens. Okay, this is CO2, carbon dioxide. That's how this one works. And CO2 is a waste product. Okay, so it's eliminated there from the body. Chemical reactions. Okay, the interactions of atoms and molecules or compounds to form new chemical combinations. We've showed you there that basically all chemical reactions that are going around on the world right now is just the exchange of electrons. That's what's going on. Not what's going on in the sun, but any type of normal reaction that we have here is just the exchange of electrons. So we've got catalysts. These are molecules that the body has designed over millions of years to save money. Literally. And reactions go, okay, so I need to input this amount of energy in order to get all of this right here. So it's worth it. Okay, if I put in this much energy, this chemical reaction will go, and now I'll get all of this reward back. But what an enzyme does is, I don't need to put in all that energy anymore. An enzyme, I only need to put in this much energy, and I still get all of that. And that's what these guys are. That's what an enzyme is. It's a catalyst. It makes a chemical reaction go easier with less input. And these amylase enzymes in our mouth, they go in and they break these starch molecules apart. And the nice thing about a catalyst or this enzyme is it comes back out again and then goes and does it again. So it's not really a part of the reaction. It's facilitating the reaction. It's making the reaction go quicker, but this is it, okay? So catalyst, enzyme, these are proteins there that serve as catalysts, and they lower the amount of energy that you would need to do this. It makes the reaction go quicker and easier. We've got acid bases here. Remember, what element is about an acid? Hydrogen. Okay? Acids contain hydrogen. Now, which is more dangerous, an acid or a base? And before you answer, they're both can be dangerous. Okay? There are acids that are very yummy. And acids there like lemons or vinegar, a tomato, all these, it's that tang, right? That's what, you squeeze a lime onto a salad. Now this salad, the words they use there is it brightens the flavor. It's got that tang, the freshness, right? That's what an acid is, all right? And there are great acids that are not dangerous. But the stronger the acids, the more hydrogen. Now you can get acids that can eat through a table, eat through your hand, these kinds of things. Battery acid there in your car and these kinds of things. Your stomach acid. Why do you think your stomach, the acid in there is pretty rough? It's pretty rough because it's a point of origin. Your mouth, bacteria can get in, bacteria can get down your esophagus, bacteria can get into your stomach, but they ain't getting by the stomach because nothing's getting by the stomach without getting eaten. All right, that's the hydrochloric acid in your stomach. We'll talk more about that there later. Bases are on the opposite side. They don't have to deal with hydrogen. They have to deal with this ion. It's called a hydroxyl ion. And if you notice, what do we get if I mix this guy and this guy? I get H2O. I get water. So acids and bases are kind of the antithesis of each other. Okay? Bases, you can think of soap, things that are slippery, these kinds of things. Soap, dish soap, cleaners, oven cleaners, these kinds of things. These are bases. Even Windex, all right? These kinds of things. These are bases. They're used for cleaning, okay? Not so much in food preparation, more acids there for food. Acids and bases can be strong or weak. They can be dangerous and not dangerous, okay? This is pH, and this is a big one. So give this a couple minutes here. pH stands for the potential of hydrogen, and this is a scale that is used to measure the amount of hydrogen in anything. Like your blood has a very specific pH range, okay? And it doesn't vary at all, really. And if it does, it can be dangerous, and I mean deadly dangerous. And if you see here, there's a scale from 0 to 14. And this is your pH scale. Pure water with no salt, no nothing in it, just pure, like Culligan water. You'd get the deionized red cap water. That's pure water. It has a pH of 7. Okay? That is completely neutral. Anything under 7 we call an acid. And you'll see here, look at the constant. In relative terms, I've put the concentrations of acid and base in this scale. So anything under a pH of 7, look at the concentrations of hydrogen ion. Just massive amounts. Stomach acid is right here, about pH of 2. Coca-Cola. Throw a quarter in a glass of Coca-Cola and leave that for a couple days and see what happens. Coca-Cola has a pH of about 2.5, which is pretty close to stomach acid. Coca-Cola. Battery acid, it is around 1. Dangerous stuff. Okay, anything in this, like this is a strong acid, 1 to 2 in around this range. Here we start to get lower strength acids, like vinegar is about 3. Okay, lemons are about 3.5, 3.75. Okay, milk is an acid. Funny enough, it's in around 6.4. Tomatoes are about 5.5. These are weak acids. Yummy. Here we have anything above a 7 is a base. And here we'll have like dish soap, these kinds of soaps here, 8 or 9 range. And up here we can get oven cleaners, which can be crazy dangerous. A pH of 12.5, 13. So the dangerous areas of this scale are on the ends. Dangerous bases, dangerous acids. Everything in here should be pretty all right. All right. Yeah. I would know this one. This is some good medical terminology. Welcome to a little bit of pathophysiology. When the blood, okay, has a pH of less than 7.35. So the blood is normally right in about here. And it does not vary too much. And have a look here. So if the blood is less than 7.35 for pH, you now have what's called acidosis. Very serious. If your blood has a pH greater than 7.5, you now have alkalosis, which is basic. And that's a big problem too. So let's have a look here at our scale. Our blood is right in here. It's in between 7.35 and 7. So it's about 7.4. That's where your blood should be at a pH. If it jumps just a little bit, 7.45 or 7.35, now you're into disease. So your blood pH, the amount of hydrogen you have in your blood, crazy important. It's monitored all the time. There's your homeostasis again, right? Your blood pH is never 7.4. It's always being monitored. Always. Okay. Where are we here? We're almost done. You guys are doing good. 6 forms of energy. There's mechanical, chemical, electrical, radiant, thermal, and nuclear. All right. So you have to think. The energy that's in that banana, how is your body going to get that energy out and utilize it there for your muscles, right? Well, it's the whole thing. It's just like burning a piece of wood. but at a very, very low temperature. And once that banana gets broken down, the whole point is to make ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Okay? And we make these molecules and then we use them to perform energy. Okay? There's 3 parts to an ATP molecule. There's the base, the sugar, and there's phosphate parts to it. Okay? After we eat the food, it's broken down. There we go. Now we can use some energy. Okay? Here is the shot of an ATP molecule. Okay? Here's your base. And this is a molecule. It's a big one, but it's a molecule, right? So here's my base. This is a sugar. Okay? And these are phosphate ions in here. Adenosine triphosphate. There's 3 of them on there. If there's 3 phosphates on here, this one here is good to go for giving you energy. You may see adenosine diphosphate. Means there's 2. This one here is a dud. Okay, it needs 3 in order to give you energy. So adenosine triphosphate, adenosine diphosphate. This is your energy molecules here. And you'll see here, this is how it works right here. Okay, stored energy, and then you release it. That's how it all goes. Your body eats the banana, and from that banana makes all these ATP molecules that sit there until they're ready to be used. Hi, Harley. How you doing? What are you doing, silly beagle? Let's have a look here. And 3 slides to go. I know these are long. Today was a long one because I had to do an introduction. Mixtures. Combination of 2 or more substances that can be separated by ordinary physical means. A sugar-iron mixture can be. If you have sugar and iron filings, how do you separate them? Bring a magnet over top of them, right? A mixture, easily separated. A solution, sugar and water, not so easily separated, but we can still separate them there. You boil the water, you get the salt back. There's 2 parts to a solution. There is a solute, which is the salt. There is the solvent, which is the water. So the salt goes into the water. The salt is the solute. The water is the solvent. And suspensions and precipitate suspensions like milk. Milk is what we call a colloidal suspension. And where it's not a mixture, these things are just sitting in solution and they're kind of happy. They're mixtures with relatively large particles. Okay? All right. So how are we doing here? This is what we got. I'm going to read the... what questions there do you guys have? I'm going to read the comment section. Does anyone have any comments here? That's all right. And I know that this is kind of... it's new. Don't worry, you guys are in good hands here. We taught bio, I don't know, for 10 years, and you guys are in good hands. I don't want you guys to freak out not having a textbook. Sometimes a textbook can actually get in the way of your learning because, you guys can do PowerPoints. You've got some questions here, and now you guys stick your nose into a book and things can kind of get hairy. I don't want you guys to get frustrated. I want you guys to have a look. I'm going to post a video again. There are review questions there. And like I've got, what am I looking for here? And I'll show you guys here. Let's have a look here. Practice. Here, I'll share the screen here. So, what do we got? Have a look here.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting that overwhelmed feeling already.
That's all good. That's what it is. This course it's hugely condensed. So you will have to put time in. And there's no like when we get into the heart Like we'll be doing for the rest of the course. It's 2 chapters a week, and it'll be full-on respiration, and then with the like digestion or the heart, it will. This week here, we're just kind of warming things up, and
That's what makes me nervous. It's the warm up, and I'm already feeling this.
No, well, you some advice. Try the questions there that I've given you. Like if you look and you see every question that you have here, you also have the answers. So you guys have the questions, you guys have the answers. It's all here. And even in the other folder there that I have right here, here's all the answers to the questions there from 1 to 4. They're all here. So you guys can just go through the questions there and make mistakes. I know I'm crazy. What kind of a teacher says make mistakes? Make as many freaking mistakes as you can. All right? And if something doesn't make sense, email me. We'll set up a WebEx. We'll chat. We'll get it all through. We'll get it all out. And you have the answers there. Make it make sense. And that's all learning is, man, is making mistakes, falling off the chair, but don't you ever not get back up on that chair. Got it?
So going forward,
Yeah.
is it going to be like the beginning, like the first lesson felt more like biology to me, whereas obviously this one is chemistry. Obviously they're interconnected in the body because stuff's going on.
Yeah.
But going forward, is it more biology based, like heavier biology with a little bit of chemistry? Because the second half is like, I don't know how everyone else is feeling. It is definitely more overwhelming just because I haven't been in school for 20 years and that chemistry is just all, as you're talking, things are flooding back to me.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I get a sense of what's going on.
You know what? I appreciate... Who am I speaking to?
It's Jennifer Wilson.
Hi, Jennifer. You know what? I really appreciate the candidness and the honesty. And I know that you're not the only one who hasn't been in a learning... a school environment, you said, for a long time. And what you're feeling is perfectly normal. And it is new. The chemistry there, what? An isotope, electrons, what? What do you... No. It's a bunch of buzzwords there to get, because I'm going to use those words. See, now I'm going to use molecule all the time, and you know what a molecule is now. I'm going to use the word ion all the time now, and you're going to know what it is. 50% of all that, you don't even have to know. But there are some words in there, and you will hear me as I go on. And these words, you may not even know that it's in there. But next week when I use that word that you don't even know is in there, that word will come out and go, oh yeah, okay. And you're building on your repertoire. Just...
I had a feeling that's where we were going, and it was just sort of a base. But
that's
again,
what
part
it
of me
is.
is just panicking, and based on the chat, I was seeing other people panicking. And yeah.
And
Although,
go ahead.
Before
Go ahead.
Class, I was way. You are a fantastic teacher, and I think it's going to help everybody I know. I'm talking to some other girls in the group, and you have eased us in so many ways. Like, I love your passion, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure everybody else does too.
It's got to be fun, or you're not going to come to my class, and it's got to be relevant. Yeah, you guys know what you guys got into when you signed up for this, and that's good. I know your mind frame. I've been teaching a long time. I'm an old dog at this, and I know your mind frame. And human beings were creatures of comfort, and my comfort is on the sofa there and relaxing. And when you put yourself into a disadvantage where you're learning, and that's what it is, right? You're trying to acquire knowledge, and just trust me, you guys are in good hands. You guys are going to be good. Hit the books. You ain't, you know what I mean? I could lecture, forever on this, but ultimately you are going to be your own jurisprudence. You got to be responsible. You got to hit those books. And as far as putting in 1,000,000 hours, no, because there's family life here, but you guys have to put in the time. Please try those questions there at the end of chapter 1 and 2 there. You guys have the answers there. Stumble through them. That's what it's all about. And you will see, that's why I asked you guys, take a mind shot of who you are there today. And I'll ask the same question 12 weeks. You guys will be well-oiled, tuned biology machines. And I tell you, you guys will be awesome. You know what I mean? As far as the biology and the terminology goes. 12 weeks is a world of difference. So you guys have made the first step here, and this is the most critical. You're here. Now, take this information here, practice it out. If question 13 is irritating you and you've done it, don't do it 3 times, do it twice. And if question 13 is still irritating you, say, Ian, question 13 is irritating, shoot me an email and we'll get it sorted out. That's how this works. Next week will be the same thing. I'm going to try and post next week's lecture ahead of time, hopefully there by tomorrow or the next day. Because this course is happening asynchronously to the Georgian semester. Georgian starts next week. You guys are a week before, so I've got 2 schedules going on. But I want you guys to have your stuff hopefully a week ahead so that you guys can go ahead. And if if previous stuff is good, then you can forge on. Because it's not easy. But it's not outside your guys' wheelhouse, man. You guys can hit this hard and do it well. And I'm proud of you already. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure I've got students in here from 18 to 55. I love it. And you're all important. You all got something to say. But other than that, I got nothing. I'm gonna post this. I'm gonna take this off here.